Hello, 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 friends. Here we are with Revelations with Rowena. I promise that there is an opening sitcom fun intro that may happen at some point. I've missed you. Last week, we didn't have a live with me because I wanted to give as much space and air time as possible for the Dream Builder Summit, Manifest Your Destiny Dream Builder Summit. If you didn't get a chance to catch my talk last Saturday morning, shame on you. No, no shaming here. It was a pretty good talk, I must say. I'm not just tooting my own horn. I kind of am. I affirm and I am going to build myself up that it was a pretty good talk. But no worries. I do have some more speaking engagements coming up in the next month. So I am not going to just talk about perfectionism in that one space. I have talked about it on this show and I intend to talk about it in the future because it's a topic that's very near and dear to me. And I know a lot of my clients struggle with perfectionism as well. But enough about that. I have my new laptop, my new MacBook, so fancy. Got my new glasses, so we're starting things off new. Today we're going to be talking about Mercury retrograde and the feels that are tied with Mercury and retrograde. And before we get into that, I wanted to do a card pull, an oracle deck. I got a couple of new ones that actually just came in today from UPS. So I am going to pull at the start of this live from the Archangel Animal deck. I was drawn to this deck because I've been doing some work with abundance angels and seeing a lot of angel numbers recently. And so that called to me. And then more recently, in my acupuncture sessions and some of my meditations, I've had some animal friends come visit. So I thought that this deck was a fantastic blend of these two types of guides that have come into my life as of late. And so this is a brand spanking new deck, and I thought it would be nice to do a card pool to start things off before we talk about Mercury in retrograde. As you see here, I'm going to be shuffling the deck. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. Oh, and we have here the rhinoceros. Rhinoceros, be strong and courageous. And that ties with archangels Sandalphon and Raquiel. And let's see how this is. Is this alphabetical? Yes, it looks like it. I haven't even opened this book yet. So you're in for a treat watching me go through this. Okay. These massive creatures originate from Lacume, the ascended aspect of Sirius. Their fortitude and their love of Earth have enabled them to ascend into the fifth dimension. Their sole mission is to act as bridges between Source and Earth. They help people and animals to plug their Earth star chakras into Lady Gaia to be charged with their light. They are representatives of the Golden Age of Mu and hold in trust for us the information, knowledge, and wisdom of that era. It is also contained in a healing blue aquamarine flame held within the centers of Earth, Orion, Sirius, the Pleiades, and Neptune. The rhinos are helping Earth to ascend by holding the geometric structure that connects the ascension planets. Their service work is to prune trees or act as grass mowers. So, in terms of guidance, this card reminds you that you do a great deal of service work, especially healing, without knowing you do so. You're asked to visualize the blue aquamarine flame of Michael and Mary and imagine yourself standing within it. This will activate knowledge and wisdom that you are ready to bring forward from the golden age of Mu. Recognize that this is important and that the keys and codes from Mu will help Earth and those around you to ascend. Your guidance is to move steadily on your path. Know that you are healing and connecting places and people wherever you go. People may not understand you, but you are developing fortitude, strength, and determination. These qualities will ultimately help you on your ascension journey. Well, that's pretty interesting. Uh, a couple of thoughts and then we'll get into Mercury retrograde. And actually, this ties into finding your anchors, right? So, I've noticed, especially with the most recent solar eclipse, a lot of manifestations physically, some sickness, some tummy issues, which I found out through the eclipse circle that I was a part of that ties into Sagittarius, some of the stomach gastro stuff. So I was dealing with that and just some of these ascension symptoms. And as you know, I've been doing these lives not that long, just a couple, and doing more speaking engagements like the summit that I mentioned, and really putting myself out there and knowing that people are drawn to my story and to the guidance and healing that based on my own unique experience can be helpful to others. I know that in working with my own clients, they are drawn to the fact that I've been there and that I understand and that I can be raw and real and just as vulnerable, Pisces water sign, I have no boundaries. Essentially, I just love to overshare. So, being strong and courageous, definitely daring greatly. The quote of being in the arena is in my office. So, that definitely resonates. And so, how can being strong and courageous tie into retrograde? So, when you hear of Mercury retrograde, and I've mentioned this many a times when I've talked about my own journey with astrology, Mercury retrograde is typically kind of the gateway drug into things outside of your zodiac signs or horoscopes. And typically, when people refer to Mercury retrograde, it's like, watch out, retrograde's here, 3 weeks. Yeah. Like it's a lot of anxiety, a lot of, oh, snap, because Mercury being the planet of communication, and it is tied to three things: uh, communication, as I mentioned, technology, and travel. So, what happens during Mercury retrograde is those things can get jacked up and fail, right? Uh, Several years ago, gosh, it was many years ago at this point, back when I was a professor and was at a conference during Mercury retrograde, all the technology was messed up. Nobody's PowerPoints worked. The internet kept going out. It was just no bueno, right? So that was retrograde. Retrograde is a time when sometimes your flights are delayed or you hit unexpected traffic when you typically don't. Retrograde was a time when I'm smiling because as I mentioned, it being my gateway drug. Retrograde was when I realized I was having miscommunication issues with my then boyfriend, fiance. I don't remember if we were engaged. No, we weren't. My then boyfriend, now husband, we were having such miscommunication issues. And when I found out about retrograde and what it was, I went to my friend Lauren Stewart, who has been on this live, uh, and was like, what is going on here? So there is a lot of concern tied to Mercury retrograde. Folks are like, oh no, avoid it, blah, blah. I don't know if friends are on TikTok, it's like that, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. That's kind of Mercury retrograde vibes. I am here to tell you to relax, calm down. It'll be okay. The past several years, especially as I've deepened my own study and practice with astrology and really started to wrap my brain around what Mercury retrograde means for us, once I've put myself in that context and realized that retrograde essentially, planets appear that they're going backwards. It really is a time of reassessing, renewal, re re-engage. It's a moment for us to slow the F down and take stock of what is happening. It really is a moment of reflection, right? Perhaps the reason why we're stuck in traffic is because we need to reframe our thoughts about time and what we're doing with our time and why are we rushing from thing to thing. I just finished reading The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I know a lot of people where when I said I was reading that, they're like, "Oh my god, I love that book," or "Oh my god, I need to get that book." Y'all should get that book if you haven't read it. And Hendricks talks about this chapter. It really blew my mind and changed my perception of time, right? That he writes about how we are many of us live in this Newtonium aspect of time, right? That we that there's it's finite, time is finite, that we only have limited time and that we're always running late to things and that we only have so much energy and so much time to do things. But Hendricks then moves us or invites us to look at time as more of this Einstein-esque approach, that if we take the time to not see time as this finite thing and see like I'm time, step into that. I'm going to make time and I'm going to, just have a different perspective of it, kind of similar to how other cultures look at time, right? You go to Europe and you see folks sitting outside having dinner for hours. For me as a native New Jerseyan, someone from the East Coast, a Capricorn rising, your girl's always hustling. I'm always, "Ah, here we go." So this has been a practice for me. And Mercury retrograde is the perfect time to do that, to reflect on how you spend your time. Are you being intentional? Are you being present? Are you are you really taking stock of your relationships? Is the time you're spending and energy you're spending on those relationships worth that time, right? So instead of seeing retrograde as this scary 3 weeks, oh shit, I can't do anything or I got to avoid all this stuff, see it as this sacred pause, this time to really dig deep. Essentially, this 3 week microcosm of what COVID has been for us for the past, what, year and a half now, almost year and a half, and reflect, go inward. Take the time to determine how this half a year has gone and how you want to move forward from here. There are there are ways that you can use this period of time to anchor, to ground yourself. Trust me, I know it is very, very difficult. As I mentioned, I'm a Pisces, I'm a water sign. I Boundaries are something that I'm still continuously working on. But we need to find these ways of grounding, of taking a moment, taking a breath, and taking stock of where we are on our journey in order to be present in our most highest, beautiful, amazing rhinoceros selves, to then go to the next level, right? To go to that point of ascension. It it sometimes can mean cutting relationships, cutting those toxic people out of your life. It can mean not overloading your schedule. Again, now that things have been opening up post COVID, now that folks are getting vaccinated, my schedule is starting to fill up again, and I want to be mindful of that because prior to COVID and prior to having a baby, I was like bopping around all over the place. Take this time to really hone in on what is worth keeping around. Know who your tribe is. That's something else I want to talk about in terms of that anchor. And now I had a train of thought and it went away, but now I remember what I wanted to say. I am part of an amazing community of mostly women on Clubhouse. I know I've mentioned the Clubhouse app multiple times. I have invites, and now our Android friends can join in on the fun. So if you'd like an invite, let me know. I can invite you. But I'm in this community of women and we meet every morning. It's a great way to start the day, and they have helped not just me, but the other women in that group. We have given each other so much support and perspective because not just in retrograde, but in life, sometimes we're so focused on comparison and who's around us and what I've done in the past and what the heck I'm doing in the future that it's hard to see how much you've accomplished and what's already in front of you. I know that I do that myself. I can be impatient when it comes to what's next, what's next, what's next. Again, Capricorn rising, friends, I'm a hustler. I'm always moving to the next thing. But something that my own coach, Amy Lee Westervelt, has told me is to celebrate those wins, right? See that in the big picture, I have accomplished so much and I have done so much, and that is enough. So, when this time of retrograde, when you are struggling, when you perhaps did get in a fight, there was a miscommunication issue, maybe there's some misunderstanding at work, maybe you're feeling anxious about what's going on, maybe you're frustrated because your train or your flight was delayed again. Take stock and think about, but you know what? I'm able to travel on this train or plane. I I have a partner that even though we're miscommunicating right now, we know each other so well and we can talk through what is going on. Having a community of folks who can keep you grounded and also hold up a mirror. I love having mentors, coaches, friends who will tell me straight, right? Like, no, Rowena, like this, no, 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 no. it's it's a it's a wonderful, amazing blessing. And let me talk about Clubhouse just in general. Now, I'm not on the app as much as I used to be when I first joined at the beginning of the year, but goodness gracious, how profound that we're in this age of Aquarius and an audio only app to connect people when folks are feeling so isolated and so alone during the pandemic pops up. It's this air. Mercury, the planet is situated in its sign is Gemini, which is also an air sign. That's why when it's in retrograde, things can get a little wonky with communication. But what that calls us, invites us to do is taking the extra time to stop and think intentionally, what am I saying? What is my truth? What am I putting out in the universe? What am I saying to people right now? What am I sharing with people right now? Is it in alignment with who I am and or who I want to be? Am I projecting a shadow side of me that I'm working through? Is there some inner child work that I need to do? Do I need to speak to my inner child? Is that what's coming out right now? What's going on here? Because the shadow side of Gemini is not listening. It's talking over and wanting to be in the conversation and thinking that you're always right. It's that pretentiousness that I'm sure so many of you are like not a fan of. I know I'm not a fan of it. So take stock. Think about that. Who are the people in your life that are able to call you out on your shit? To kind of kick you around a little bit, not physically, but you know, figuratively. Who can you depend on to be able to cause you to stop and reflect during this time? Who are able to have an open conversation about why the miscommunication occurred, to be able to give you that perspective of how much you have accomplished. We're at this halfway year point, right? We're in June. It's hard to believe that 6 months of 2021 have already passed by, but here we are, people. Here we are, friends. Lord. Uh so this is a perfect time to not just reflect on what's going on the here and now, but to reflect on what has transpired and what we can do to move forward. It's all there. And we have our tools, right? That is the what I love about what I do for my clients. It's having these tools, it's having these oracle decks, it's having the crystals to help you with your, we're made of water and the crystals kind of help with that, and astrology to guide us on what our assets and maybe some of our challenges may be, and how we can utilize our natal chart to engage and interact with people. These tools are available to us. I was in a clubhouse room, and they talked about how, was it Clubhouse or maybe it was a podcast? One of those things. I like to listen. I like to do audio listening and learning. They talked about how the universe wants what's best for us, right? The universe wants us to step into our divine essence, to activate that soul purpose, which is my mission with doing all of this. So why not? Why not engage and take advantage of these messages and tools that are available to us? As I mentioned at the start of this live, I've been, really engaging with archangels and angel numbers, and 2222. That's so funny. Just as I was talking about it, 2222, we're at 2222. But those repeating numbers. So just being open to that. If you are so distracted and so busy and so intertwined and pissed off about traffic or whatever that happens during retrograde times, you might miss these signs. And also when it comes to the tools, another tool that I've used is tarot, right? I've been really diving deeper into my tarot card reading practice, and the my teacher, Lindsay Mack, talks about using tarot as anchoring, right? When I started her course, the anchor card that I had and have, I think I'm still using this card, is the Chariot. Now, some folks see the Chariot as movement, but as Lindsay talks about in her Tarot for the Wild Soul course, the Chariot's still, right? Chariot's not in movement. The Chariot is this, again, it's getting out of there and reflecting and reviewing on, oh, check it out how far I've come. And it's making the intentional decision to move forward on the next part of your journey. That's where I feel I am, and collectively we are right now. Things are opening up again. We're going into this new normal because we're not going back to the old normal. That's, so much has happened. That's not happening anymore. So we're now in this new normal, and retrograde and my personal tarot card anchor of the Chariot is an invitation to review where we've come from and how far we have come, and to celebrate that, and to sit in that, and to situate in that, and to be excited about it, you know so that we can make the decision to take the leap. That's what this time is for. It's an invitation to sit, reflect, and then decide if you want to take the leap. Because it's ready. We're all here. We're all getting there. FYI, if you're interested in how Mercury is situated specifically in your natal chart, feel free to let me know. I do have a Mercury retrograde report that I do offer. Um, that just came to me right now. But I wanted to close with a card pull, another card pull from the sacred, yeah, that's right, Sacred Rebels by Alana Fairchild. Um, the Archangel Animal one was Diana Cooper, by the way, in case you were interested in that. I've had this deck for a while. It's a lovely deck. It has helped me through a lot, especially this year. I do card pulls every new moon and full moon, and the messages have been on point. I was just going to do a pull from one of the new decks, but Spirit moved me and wanted me to pull from today. This one. I'm being called to pull two, so I'm going to do that. Okay. So the first card is Softly, Softly, the Tender Touch. If I can get the book out. I think I want to do more card pulls in the future. I do them with all my clients, and I just really like it. The feminine wisdom of gentleness can assist you now when we are at a point in life where we want to attain greater things, but don't necessarily have a proportionally greater supply of energy at our disposal. It is time to work smarter rather than harder. Be smart, friends. This is the way of feminine wisdom. However, a cultural ignorance of the feminine way currently prevails. We are generally taught that the more force we use, the more we try to make things happen, the more we will achieve. The feminine way is not about force, nor is it about driving, striving, pushing, or grabbing at what we can in order to create. It's talking about that hustling, right? It is about inviting what we wish for to come into the space we have provided for it internally and in our lives. This method cultivates more energy, causes less stress, and attracts what is desired. It is manifestation by invitation rather than by will or force. Let's talk about that invitation. There's an old story about there is an old story that the sun and the wind were debating about who was more powerful. After boasting about their prowess, they made a wager. A man walked down the street with a coat on. The wind and the sun decided that whomever could force the coat off the man was the most powerful. The wind began demonstrating its impressive power. It blew and caught underneath the coat, pulling it and nearly ripping it right off the man. But the man wrapped his coat around himself more tightly to protect himself against the force of the wind. Eventually, perhaps temporarily out of puff, the wind gave up. The sun took over. He shone down, becoming brighter and brighter until the man slipped off his coat, slung it over his shoulder, and walked down the street, quite possibly wondering what was happening with the weather that day. The wind attempted to do by force what the sun was able to do by being. You are being asked to surrender your forcefulness, your determination, and your intense activity, even if it is just for this moment. Does this mean that you have to surrender the goals you are chasing through these endeavors? Certainly not. No, no, no. This is not about letting go of achievement. It's about understanding the process of manifestation in a more intelligent way. There is a way of creating that gives you energy and doesn't leave you utterly worn out. Yes, friends, submit. It doesn't have to be so hard. It's about allowing what you want to come to you. So don't force it. Don't get mad during retrograde. Be yourself absolutely, naturally, and with ease. Shine your light and allow your presence to invite that which you wish to receive. It's about cultivating an energetic affinity with what you seek rather than feelings of lack and need. Do you see the subtle but important difference? To feel that you're already a naturally abundant being who gratefully invites more of what you want into your life is rather different than feeling lack, fear, and wishing your world would change. Yeah, so wanted to comment on that. I was reflecting on that earlier today about this scarcity mindset, about this, having this desperation energy when it comes to manifestation and when it comes to creating opportunities of abundance. It doesn't have to be that way, right? Like, and actually, the universe isn't so fond of that, right? Not that scarcity and that like, oh, I needed the desperation. No, 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 no. It instead of that, instead of forcing it, it's a bit like dressing for the job you want, even if it's not yet the job you have. You energetically embody what you wish to attract more of into your life. Like attracts like. Listen, I know that I've done that I like started to do away with the yoga pants, y'all, and looking good. This oracle brings you a message. You don't need to push quite so hard to receive what is naturally coming to you. Your push comes from a place of uncertainty over whether or not you will succeed. You'll need to relax and have more faith in yourself. All things come in time, rightfully and according to a great loving wisdom. You're not immune to this. You shall have your time and shine too. Rebel against any voice of fear within you or around you that tells you otherwise. Again, that's cutting out those toxic relationships. It's okay to become softer, to feel the energy of what you wish to attract into your life, and to act as much as you can as though it's already on the way. You're not fantasizing or daydreaming or failing to live in the real world if you do this. You're actually working with the feminine art of manifestation through gentle beingness and attraction. Just be you, boo. As you soften into becoming what you're seeking, what you wish for will not be able to resist your shining, inviting presence. Again, if you're all stressed out and like, yeah, this is no bueno. This oracle comes with a special message that you have been working very, very hard. We have been working very, very hard. It's been a very challenging year and a half. You've learned much and accomplished much, but now it's time to change the approach, friends. Let go of any force in the approach to creation. Everything serves a purpose, and learning the benefits and limitations of the more forceful way of manifestation through effort and willpower was a useful lesson. However, if you're to continue with that approach, it would stop working for you because you're now beginning to create on a far grander scale that's beyond what an individual can manifest through willpower alone. You're individually creating through your healing and art, but also contributing globally to new consciousness through your own spiritual growth. Yes, 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 yes. As I mentioned, there is a collective retreat, this collective consciousness shift, right? We're moving away from materialism, and we're moving toward a higher state of consciousness collectively. So you're part of this global healing manifestation process. We are helping to birth a new awareness that will heal the human heart and bring it back into balance. Yes, friends. So that is it, right? This is all about balance in terms of retrograde. We're trying to recalibrate. Retrograde, recalibrate, reassess, reflect, renew. It's essential for the human soul to survive, flourish, and to cooperatively nurture the earth rather than destroy natural resources. Um, so, this change of approach will encourage the shift from the head to the heart that's essential for your well being and for greater human evolution. You need to heal so you can help the world to heal. So, this is the last question here. Does this give you absolute permission now in your own mind to take an easier approach to your sacred, rebellious, creative manifestation? So, permission to lead with your heart, to not get so caught up in the nitty-gritty of what is happening around you in this retrograde period. It's really diving inward and moving forward with a heart of service, with being that heart-centeredness. So, that ties in. And then, as I mentioned, I was called to pull a different card, a second card, which is card 30, the perfection of your life. and we'll end here. Have you ever seen a storm pictured from above? It can appear to be so beautiful and elegant. This is certainly different to the ground view, which can be quite a violent experience. So, too, there is great beauty in your life now. However, at this point in the natural process, you may be experiencing it as anxiety inducing rather than beautiful. You may sense it as internal chaos. You may feel as if something is waiting to erupt from within as a restlessness or an anxiety that you cannot quite articulate but sense vaguely nonetheless. Perhaps the chaos is fully fledged and a person or situation in your life is creating and causing all kinds of havoc, upheaval, or change and uncertainty in your world. Maybe retrograde. Also, I've been listening to Glennon Doyle's podcast and called We Can Do Hard Things. I do love Glennon Doyle. I'm a huge fan. And in Glennon Doyle's podcast on anxiety, she talks about how now that we're moving post COVID into, you know, things are opening up again, there's this anxiety about it, right? We're shifting again. And so, this card is that we're in this situation where there's not just change with the retrograde, but change collectively with 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 things opening up again post COVID. So I'm continuing on. Whether the chaos seems subtle, strong, internal, or external, this oracle brings the same message for you. All is unfolding according to a perfect higher order. You are currently enduring a cosmic spiritual storm, which is having an impact on you. It's clearing things out, ruffling feathers, and preparing you for that lovely, super fresh, uplifting feeling that one experiences after the storm has finally passed. Yes, friends. Sometimes retrograde can seem like an astrological CF of a storm, but just know that by staying present and staying with it, we will emerge out the other side and you have learned so much. If you cannot believe that there's anything happening, even at a subtle level, because you feel stuck, denied, bored, thwarted, or stale, here's another message from this deck. No matter what appears to be, in truth, there is only the unfolding creative genius of the universe. You are not forgotten. You have not been looked over. You have not been denied, found wanting, or rejected as unworthy. The storm that needs to erupt is in your own heart. Do the liberating rain dance. Rage, weep, pray, dance, paint, or sing. Express whatever is needed, however is needed, to exorcise, like the exorcist, exorcise that blocked energy in your heart. Then you will call on the powerful perfection of your life path as it aligns for the next creative turn of the spiral of life. Once again, trust and directly experience the flower of life unfolding within you and around you. Oh, how beautiful is this? Right? These messages from these cards are that, things are going to happen and that we should take a feminine approach to it, that we should not force the energy that is happening right now, but that even when shit gets bad, and maybe if, even if it's difficult and challenging and it feels like so that we can be that rhinoceros, we can be strong and courageous, and that we will come out the other side okay. Because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger and a little taller. Okay, I don't know the rest of the words. I felt called to sing a Singformation, and I don't know if that was it. But stay grounded, stay on course, stay true to you. You know, by working with that intuitive muscle, you know what is best for you. And so during this time of retrograde, find those anchors, whether it is your community, whether it is card pulls such as these, whether it is talking to coaches and mentors and friends, whether it is movement, doing yoga or meditation or breathing or journaling or scripting or singing or nature or going live and speaking it out and using that air. during this time. Whatever it is, I hope that you find what you need to stay anchored and grounded, because what you need to be who you authentically and beautifully and magnificently are, you already have it inside of you. It's all here. It's just waiting to come out and play and say hi. And that is my wish for you during this period. As always, if you need my support, if you need to know more specifically how Mercury is situated within your natal chart, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, next week we have a treat. I have one of my amazing, beautiful soulpreneur sisters, Hannah Jefferson, my acupuncturist and my beautiful friend, joining us. And we're going to talk about living our life as empaths. Whee! I'm sure that a lot of you are empaths as well. And with so many astrological events happening with these eclipses and retrogrades and, like Saturns and everything's happening right now. So, my empath friends, my heart goes to you, and we're going to talk about how we can continue to live our lives as empaths and go on our journeys as entrepreneurs and as beautiful human beings. So until then, I hope that you have a fantastic week and that you take care of yourself, take care of each other. Good luck during this retrograde. And I sincerely hope with all of my heart and my soul that you will also achieve and activate that inner muse and soul purpose that is just there waiting to come out for you as well. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.